All right, let's unpack something truly groundbreaking for you today. Imagine an AI in radiology that doesn't just do one specific thing, but understands the entire complex world of medical images across different types, diseases, and findings. That's precisely what we're diving into with Curia, a multimodal foundation model for radiology, a paper that's, well, really redefining what's possible in medical imaging AI.
Yeah, what's exciting about Curia is how it tackles the one task, one model bottleneck that has traditionally plagued radiology AI. It's a multimodal foundation model trained on an unprecedented scale. We're talking 150,000 real-world exams, a staggering 130 terabytes of data encompassing over 200 million images from a major hospital. This isn't just a huge data set, it's diverse, high-quality clinical data that lets Curia learn incredibly rich, generalized features.
And the results, this model doesn't just match. In many cases, it surpasses the performance of human radiologists and other cutting-edge AI models. And that's on a challenging, newly designed 19-task benchmark. Crucially, it shows these powerful emergent properties like cross-modality generalization, meaning it learns features that work across different imaging types, like CT and MRI.
Exactly. And remarkable data efficiency, too, performing well even with very, very little new labeled data.
Right.
So for AI researchers and ML engineers, this paper is more than just, an incremental improvement. It feels like a leap towards truly universal, robust, and data-efficient AI for enhancing patient care. It's about moving from these kind of bespoke, fragile models to a powerful, adaptable foundation.
Absolutely. So how did they actually build this impressive model, and what does it mean for pushing the boundaries of medical AI? Stick around, because this next part is really where Curia shines as we break down all the details. Okay, so before Curia burst onto the scene, the world of radiology AI faced this significant, almost systemic challenge. People call it the one task, one model problem. Radiology, as you know, is absolutely central to so many medical specialties, relying heavily on interpreting images from really diverse modalities like CT, MRI, ultrasound, X-ray.
That's right. Just think about a radiologist's daily workflow. They're recognizing organs, detecting anomalies, classifying pathologies, tracking disease progression. It's across this enormous spectrum of conditions and image types. And the traditional AI approach has been, to train highly specialized models for individual tasks, a separate model for segmenting, say, a specific organ, another for detecting a certain type of tumor, yet another for classifying a particular pathology.
And the critical drawback of doing it that way?
Well, it's just exceptionally resource intensive.
Yeah.
Every new task, every new clinical application, every new modality often requires manually annotating vast task-specific data sets. This creates a huge bottleneck, really slowing down how quickly we can integrate powerful AI tools into, widespread clinical workflows.
Right.
And if we connect this to the broader AI landscape, foundation models represent a huge paradigm shift, right? They learn these fine-grained semantic features from massive unlabeled data sets, much like, say, Dino v2 or MAE have done for natural images. The promise is broad generalization to downstream tasks with minimal fine-tuning. But this potential has largely remained unrealized in radiology until now. Earlier radiology foundation models like Biomed CLIP or MedImage Insight, they were trained on medium-scale datasets, maybe 15 million images for Biomed CLIP. That's considerably smaller than the hundreds of millions used for natural vision FMs.
And it wasn't just the scale, was it? There were issues with the kind of data used, too.
Exactly. Critically, their training sets were often these heterogeneous mixtures of images from various medical specialties, ophthalmology, pathology, dermatology, not just radiology. This introduced biases and limited their ability to truly generalize across the broad range of tasks a radiologist performs daily. Plus, there was this noticeable absence of a unified benchmark for rigorously comparing these existing models, made progress hard to measure.
Okay, so we have this massive problem with fragmented task-specific AI. Now let's talk about Curia, a model that the authors claim sets a new standard in radiological image interpretation. Given these challenges, what was the most, innovative or surprising choice they made in building this multimodal foundation model?
The ingenuity, I think, truly lies in the foundational elements, especially the data and the methodology. Curia was trained on the entire cross-sectional imaging output of a single major hospital over several years, from 2019 to 2022. This wasn't just a collection, it was 150,000 exams, generating an astonishing 130 terabytes of data. That translates to over 200 million CT and MRI images. Specifically, 164 million CT and 64 million MISARD DICOM files. To our knowledge, this is the largest corpus of real-world radiological data ever used for such a model.
Wow. So it's not just big, it's clinically coherent big data from a single source. That sounds like a key difference from previous attempts, right?
Precisely. That single-center comprehensive data allows for a very consistent and clinically relevant representation. For training, they use self-supervised learning with the Dino v2 algorithm, based on the vision transformer architecture. This is crucial because Dino v2 learns robust visual features without explicit supervision, meaning it doesn't need humans to label every single image. They developed both a base model, a VITB, and a large one, VITL.
The 86 million and 300 million parameter ones.
Yeah, that's them. Pre-processing involved resizing images to 512 by 512 and Z-score standardization, importantly, without explicit windowing. And a truly significant step for accelerating community progress is that the base model's weights are actually released on Hugging Face. That's a huge boost for other researchers.
That accessibility is fantastic for the community.
Yeah.
But, okay, building a powerful model is only half the story. Rigorously testing it is just as crucial. The team behind Curia didn't just use existing benchmarks. They introduced a new, comprehensive one they call Curia Bench. What stands out to you about the design and scope of this evaluation, especially considering that earlier lack of a unified benchmark?
What's striking here is the sheer breadth and clinical relevance. Curia Bench comprises 19 distinct radiological tasks, specifically designed to span both CT and MRI modalities and cover most anatomical regions: abdomen, brain, chest. It's a real cross-section of radiologists' daily work.
And the types of tasks included are incredibly diverse too, right? Not just one thing.
Exactly. They cover classification, regression, survival prediction, and segmentation. This isn't a narrow test. It covers a wide range of clinical categories. So for anatomy, you've got tasks like CT-MRI, organ recognition, and neuroimaging age estimation. In musculoskeletal, it covers things like spinal canal stenosis and ACL tear. For neurodegenerative conditions, there's Alzheimer's disease prediction. Then oncology includes lung nodule malignancy, kidney lesion malignancy, even kidney cancer survival prediction. Emergency medicine features abdominal trauma, stroke, intracranial hemorrhage detection, and for infectious diseases, it includes pulmonary infections like COVID-19.
Wow, that's incredibly comprehensive. And I understand the benchmark also focuses on generalization, which is so critical for real-world application.
Absolutely. It explores generalization in both few-shot, meaning low data, and cross-modal settings. This is vital for practical use cases where labeled data is scarce, or you need a model to adapt to new imaging types. For evaluation, and this is important, Curia was assessed without any fine-tuning of its core vision transformer backbone. Instead, only lightweight prediction heads were trained on the frozen model's extracted features.
So you're really testing the power of the pre-trained features themselves.
Exactly. And for comparison, they used other foundational models like MedImage Insight and Biomed CLIP, allowing for a robust sort of apples-to-apples comparison on this unified benchmark.
Okay, so Curia is built on this massive, clinically coherent data set using a powerful self-supervised learning approach and tested on this incredibly robust new benchmark. Now for the true test, how good is it really? Especially compared to other state-of-the-art models and, well, even human experts. This next part is really where the implications start to sink in because the results are genuinely remarkable.
Indeed. Let's start with anatomical tasks. Curia L, the large model, achieved near-perfect accuracy on CT organ recognition. We're talking high 90s percentage-wise. And very strong performance on MRI, too, significantly outperforming previous models by like 10, 20 percentage points in some cases. For neuroimaging age estimation from brain MRIs, Curia L accurately predicted patient age with an RMSE of just over 6 years. Again, outperforming competitors like Biomed CLIP and MedImage Insight.
And a major practical concern for ML engineers in this space is data efficiency. How did Curia fare there? That seems key.
This is one of Curia's standout features. Its data efficiency is a critical advantage. Curia's performance reached near maximum accuracy with a really small number of training samples. For example, on the CT organ recognition benchmark, Curia L showed roughly a 20-point performance difference over MedImage Insight at just 20 samples per class. A model trained from scratch needed like 10 times that many examples just to get over 80% accuracy.
Wow.
This just highlights the immense power of self-supervised pre-training on truly vast, diverse, real-world data. It drastically reduces the annotation burden for downstream tasks.
That sounds like a dream for any research team dealing with scarce labeled medical data. Could you give us a quick mental picture of just how much less labeled data we're talking about compared to traditional models, like order of magnitude?
Yeah, effectively, you're looking at needing potentially just a fraction, maybe 10% or even less in some cases, of the hand-labeled examples to achieve comparable or sometimes even superior performance. The foundation model has learned such rich, generalized features that it can quickly adapt to new tasks with very little specific instruction. It's pretty incredible.
Okay.
And then there's cross-modal generalization, which is a major emergent property. This is really cool. When trained for organ recognition on CT and evaluated on out-of-distribution MRI, Curia demonstrated only a small decrease in balanced accuracy, maybe around 9 percentage points. But what's truly remarkable is that in the zero-shot setting, it achieved higher accuracy on MRI than other foundation models that were trained directly on MRI.
Get out. So it's essentially seeing the underlying anatomical structures, not just the pixels of a specific modality.
Right.
That's a huge step towards truly robust modality agnostic AI.
Absolutely. It suggests the model is forced to abstract away that modality-specific noise and focus on the underlying anatomical structures common to both CT and MRI. That leads to these truly robust representations. And this capability was consistent across tasks like volume registration, where Curia matched or outperformed other models, especially in challenging cross-modality CT to MR tasks. Interestingly, even Dino V2 Large, despite not being trained on medical images, achieved respectable performance in registration, sometimes outperforming other medical foundation models, which kind of hints at the power of its general visual features. And finally, for prompted segmentation, when they adapted Curia with the SAM decoder, it achieved dice similarity coefficient scores in the high 80s to low 90s. That's performing on par with or even better than specialized models like RadSAM.
Much better than the original SAM.
Oh, significantly better than the original SAM model on these medical tasks, yeah. Demonstrates the high quality and transferability of Curia's pre-trained features for segmentation too.
So it's not just understanding, but segmenting with remarkable precision too, which is fantastic for so many clinical applications. But beyond just identifying and segmenting, how well does it perform on the actual clinical decision-making task that radiologists face daily, especially in critical areas like oncology?
Right, on oncology tasks, Curia showed exceptional predictive power. For tumor localization, Curia L achieved a balanced accuracy way up there, over 91%. For kidney lesion malignancy and lung nodule malignancy, Curia achieved AUROCs well into the 80s and mid-90s respectively. These results consistently outperformed other foundational models and even specialized feature-based approaches like Harvard's OncoFM. And maybe even more impressively, for renal malignancy survival prediction, Curia B achieved a concordance index of 0.71. That substantially outperformed both earlier foundation models and even conventional T-stage tumor classification, which is, a standard clinical staging system.
Wow, that's a huge step towards better patient prognosis and truly useful clinical insights, not just image interpretation. That's moving into prediction.
It really is, and that strength carries over. In musculoskeletal MSK Assessment, Curia demonstrated leading performance in assessing degenerative lumbar spine conditions like foraminal narrowing, subarticular stenosis, spinal canal stenosis. AUROCs consistently in the mid to high 80s and even into the 90s. It also excelled in ACL tear detection, often outperforming competing FMs. In emergency medicine, Curia delivered competitive results. Curia L reached an AROC of over 93 for intracranial hemorrhage detection and nearly 90 for stroke detection.
Pretty strong.
Very strong. While MedImage Insight did achieve slightly higher scores for myocardial infarction and abdominal trauma in their tests, Curia was still right up there. For neurodegenerative conditions, specifically Alzheimer's disease prediction on brain MRI, Curia B and Curia L were highly competitive, achieving AURCs around 87.8. And in infectious diseases, Curia L achieved a superior balanced accuracy of over 93% in detecting COVID-19 and non-COVID pneumonia, again outperforming the other FMs.
The performance across all those tasks is undeniably strong. But the ultimate benchmark for a tool like this, I guess, is often human comparison. How did Curia fare when pitted against human expertise?
Yeah, this is truly compelling. On a set of 14 different medical imaging tasks, Curia obtained performance comparable to and often higher than the average scores of 4 final-year radiology residents.
Okay, wow. That really highlights its reliability and potential as a valuable clinical support tool.
Definitely. And from an interpretability standpoint, which is key for trust in a clinical setting, analysis of attention maps for intracranial hemorrhage classification showed Curia focusing on relevant lesion areas, more transparent decision-making compared to, say, Biomed CLIP, which produced more diffuse maps. Patch-level key point matching experiments further demonstrated Curia's robust ability to perform. It showed its capacity to understand relationships between anatomically similar regions across different imaging modalities and individuals.
So it understands the what and the where pretty well.
Exactly. And finally, the scaling curves showed that, yes, increasing dataset size and training duration are both important factors for maximizing downstream performance. It confirms the bigger data is better hypothesis in this context.
This is incredibly promising and a clear advancement, offering a solution to many of the problems we discussed earlier, like the fragmentation and data hunger. But as with all cutting-edge research, no study is without its acknowledged limitations and areas for future growth. What are the key limitations the authors themselves acknowledge, and where do they see this foundational model heading next?
Yeah, they're quite upfront about it. A primary acknowledged limitation is data bias. The massive pre-training dataset came from a single hospital center. Now, while it's diverse in clinical content, this could introduce institutional biases related to, site-specific imaging protocols, reliance on specific equipment vendors, or maybe local patient population specificities.
Right, different scanners, different ways of doing things.
Yeah. Exactly. However, the authors do note this is somewhat mitigated by their multi-center evaluation benchmark, which helps validate generalizability to different sites, so they tested it more broadly. Another point is that Curia is fundamentally a 2D model. It processes volumetric CT and MRI data image by image.
Ah, okay.
While this is computationally efficient, it necessitates these specialized prediction heads to aggregate the 2D features for 3D tasks like volumetric segmentation or registration. A native 3D foundation model could potentially offer improved performance for tasks requiring deeper volumetric characterization. That's definitely an exciting area for future work.
So even with its breadth, the benchmark scope still has room to grow, right? It doesn't cover every imaging modality yet.
That's correct. While Curia Bench is comprehensive with 19 tasks across CT and MRI, it doesn't yet cover the entire spectrum of imaging practice. Think about ultrasound, X-ray, nuclear medicine, they're not in there yet. Expanding the benchmark to include these is pretty essential for assessing and extending the model's universality. And then, beyond the technical achievements, there are significant clinical integration hurdles that remain. Translating this technical achievement into a practical clinical asset is complex.
Yeah, it's not just about having a good model.
Not at all. AI excellence isn't the only requirement. Seamless integration into hospital IT systems like PayCS, that's picture archiving and communication systems, adherence to strict regulatory standards, and acceptance within established physician workflows. These are significant hurdles that still need to be addressed.
It really sounds like the technical innovation is just one piece, maybe even the first piece, of a much larger puzzle for real-world impact. What's the ultimate future vision, then, for Curia and models like it? Where could this go?
Well, the really exciting future evolution, I think, will likely center on incorporating richer, truly multimodal data, not just images, but also information from electronic health records, textual radiological reports.
Oh, bringing in the context.
Exactly. Such an approach promises to unlock a deeper level of contextual understanding, significantly boosting generalization, and potentially enabling, conversational interactions where clinicians can interact with the model using natural language. Imagine asking it questions about findings, differentials, or treatment pathways. That would be a total game changer.
So what does this all mean for you, the AI researchers and ML engineers on the cutting edge? Curia represents a significant advancement, really, in applying foundation models to radiology. It offers a robust, versatile, and remarkably data-efficient tool with real potential for clinical impact. The study provides a strong foundation and, crucially, a standardized benchmark. It paves the way for developing even more powerful AI tools that can enhance diagnostic accuracy and assist clinical workflows in ways we've maybe only just begun to imagine. It truly challenges that old notion that medical AI has to be endlessly specialized and fragmented.
And it definitely raises an important question for all of us. As these models become increasingly capable, matching and even exceeding human performance in specific tasks, how do we best design our systems to leverage their strengths while maintaining that critical human oversight and judgment in complex medical decision-making? What new forms of human-AI collaboration will emerge from foundational models like Curia? Moving beyond just task automation to truly augment human intelligence, that's something to think about. And hey, if you're interested in exploring this further, the authors have released their base model's weights on Hugging Face, which is a fantastic opportunity to dive deeper and maybe accelerate progress in this vital field yourself.
Thank you for joining us for this AI Paper Podcasts. We hope you found this deep dive as insightful as we did, and we really look forward to seeing the innovations it inspires.